Hey, it's Tuesday. Here we are, 15 minutes behind the profile. And today I have Heather from Socks Digital, and she's picked this song. I thought love was only true in fairy tales, meant for someone else, but not for me. Love was out to get me. That's the way it seems. Disappointment haunted all my dreams. Then I saw her face. I'm a believer, not a trace. Doubt in my mind. I'm in love. You can do the ooh. I'm a believer. I can leave her if I try. There we go. Heather, welcome.
Cheers.
And so tell me, why did you choose that song?
Because it's suitably tacky and it's going to go around in everyone's heads all day long.
Fantastic. And it sounded okay, because I just noticed this. I wasn't plugged in.
You weren't. No, you weren't. I thought it sounded rather acoustic for what looks like perhaps an electric guitar, but
it's not a problem. That's absolutely fine. Hey, good to see you. It's one of those songs that just gets in your head and you can't get rid of it, you know?
And everybody always feels the inclination to start singing along because it's a proper banger. Yeah
it is a great song. And the other thing is, I'm in a few different bands and perform it out and about and what have you, and it covers the whole generation, you know, the grannies in the room down to the little kids in the room, because you mentioned earlier the song from Shrek. And that's it. It's one of those timeless classics. So yeah, absolutely great song. I'm not sure if I've played it before on this show, but thank you very much for tuning in. That. So Heather Socks Digital, I take it Socks Digital is not your surname. So tell us a little bit about you, Heather.
Socks Digital is obviously not my surname. I'm Heather Howe and I run Socks Digital, or a web agency based down in Truro in Cornwall.
Beautiful Cornwall, which is where I used to live. I used to live in Newquay. So in fact, are you going to say the little village that you live in?
Yes, I live in 3 Milestone, which is inventively named because we are 3 miles from Truro and there is a stone in the middle of the village, which is a 3 milestone.
Yeah, absolutely. Classic. Absolutely classic. So I've gone through that every day on the way to college, because I went to Camborne Tech, as it was called back in the day. So I want to ask you a few questions about LinkedIn. So first of all, how long have you been on it?
Well, I joined 25th of September 2014, so nearly 10 years.
Wow, that's amazing, isn't it?
It's quite a while, yes.
And so do you use other social media regularly?
Facebook, yeah, for the business, that is, yeah. Facebook, we're on Facebook as Socks Digital. I personally I'm also minorly addicted to Reels on Instagram.
Okay. When you say addicted, watching them or doing them?
Watching them. No, God, no, you wouldn't get me in front of the camera. Whew, no, thanks.
Right, you do know that we're in front of
the
camera.
Yes, I know.
Okay. And we are live, so we can't cut anything.
Yeah, I know.
You're okay with that?
Don't remind me. It's fine.
Sorry.
Don't remind
me. Why do you use LinkedIn?
It's a good platform if you're kind of a B2B, but it's also great for connecting with your network and staying in touch with people. It's got a kind of a less formal feel. Like if you're doing one-to-ones all the time, they're really good for building relationships, but sometimes you just need to just sort of drop somebody a line when they post a cool update and just go, yeah, I'm keeping up with what you're doing. What you're doing sounds really cool. It's good to hear from you, that kind of thing.
Just keeps you front of mind, doesn't it? And I've made so many friends being on this platform. It is absolutely incredible. So you post your own content. How often do you do that?
So our company page, we do usually about 2, sometimes 3 a week. Myself, I make an effort to do at least 1 a week, but I will usually try and make it a good one. And I usually try and write it in advance. But sometimes it's a bit tricky to come up with something new every week, especially if you're doing like more than one platform.
Yeah, that's the trouble, isn't it? It's sort of like, oh, hang on, which is going to be the best? Which one's best for your business?
It's probably LinkedIn, to a lesser extent Facebook, but obviously the algorithm on Facebook hates companies if you don't pay to advertise. So it's really tricky to get in front of the right people if you're not throwing money at it.
And that's the other rabbit hole that we can get down, isn't it? Is start paying for ads, and before you know it, you've emptied your bank account, haven't you? So you've got to be careful. It's working out what your ROI is, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
No, perfect. Do you get business as a result of what you're doing on LinkedIn?
Yes. Yes, I have, which I really didn't expect in some ways. When you see all of these other really big like LinkedIn personalities and they're going, oh yeah, I won like 5 leads or whatever off of LinkedIn today. And you're like, yeah, right. But actually, yes, I have, which I was pleasantly surprised about. And I still am surprised when they land in my inbox. I'm like, oh, it actually worked.
It does work.
It does work. And what got me as well is that more often than not, it's not the people who are commenting and engaging with you who are the ones that actually end up reaching out and sending you a message and go, actually, I'd quite like to explore working together. And that has always surprised me, that it's the quiet ones.
We are we're quite reserved. And so we're not going to, I'm one of these people, if I go into a store, I'll find somebody to help me. I go, oh, can you show me where the shorts are or whatever it is I'm looking for? All right. Whereas the rest of my family, oh, Dad, don't do that. Oh, why'd you have to be so embarrassing? Oh, and they'll wander around the store, go around 3 times looking for where the shorts are, and finally found them. Yeah. Oh, that's great. No one's had to bother me. But I love it when someone, oh, how can I help you? Well, actually, I'm looking for this today. And they take you to, you go to the shops like Waitrose, they will, carry you to the aisle where the rice pudding is.
Yeah.
You go to Lidl's and it's sort of like, yeah, stand there somewhere if we've got any. You're paying for customer service, obviously. And the thing is with LinkedIn and what we're doing on social media is we're just finding out stuff. We're not gonna message Heather and ask her about this newfangled web thing, but she's doing some good stuff. So I'll just keep an eye out for her. And the day that I need somebody to help me with my website design and all that sort of stuff, and you'll tell us all about what you do in a minute, I'm going to go to Heather because I know, like, and trust her. And I think that's the thing that makes it work. And you're front of mind because you're doing stuff regularly, and that is it. You're only doing 1 post a week, but it's a quality post a week. And you talk to some people and they're not producing any content. So, you're producing more content than most of the people on the platform. So
I mean, I absolutely could do more. But it's also, I don't want to just post rubbish for the sake of posting. I would rather do something that people are actually interested in or could actually help somebody. I try not to post too much stuff that's all kind of, techie and web-based, because for the majority of people, what I do is quite boring. I'm a nerd, and I know I'm a nerd, and I'm quite proud of the fact that I'm a nerd. But lots of people just don't care about websites. It's a really boring subject. And so there's no point trying to shove it down people's throats, because they're just not going to engage with it because they just don't care.
I love that. You're actually aware of where you are. And again, as a LinkedIn coach, I don't talk about being a LinkedIn coach, and because again, people don't care.
No.
So tell us, what is Socks Digital? What is a web agency? Go on, explain to us. Try and not keep it nerdy.
I do try to keep it in plain English. It's one of the things that we strive for as a business. So in terms of Socks Digital, what we do, so we help small and micro businesses online, specifically with websites and social media content. So on the website front, our platform of choice is WordPress, but due to how popular the likes of what I call Squix, which is Squarespace and Wix, I said it by mistake once and it's stuck. Due to the popularity of that, we've kind of been sort of coerced into giving some support with that as well, but we're not massive fans of it. So yeah, our primary sort of area is WordPress, and we can take over something that already exists, give it a bit of a zhuzh if it needs it, or we can build from the ground up. And then on the social media side of things, if you need a strategy, I'm not your gal. But if you kind of know where you want to go with it, maybe you're on Facebook or you've got a LinkedIn company page, but you're struggling to know what to post and you really struggle to come up with the actual content and what to say, that's where we can come in. So we create that content for you, and we come up with ideas, and we pass them on, and you can go, oh, well, I like this one and I like that one, but I don't like this third one you've come up with. And then we actually write the text itself, come up with a nice image and some relevant hashtags for it. So it's really good for those people who want to do more on social media but are really struggling to have the time to actually come up with it. And I think also it's kind of, to a certain extent, it's the creativity and the imagination to actually be able to sit down and write it. I know that that's something personally I have struggled with a lot. And it's a real habit building exercise. And in those early days, it's really daunting to have to come up with something and stick it out there on the World Wide Web for everybody to see.
Yeah, and that's the thing, isn't it? You sort of like, right, you need a website and you have to create content. And I guess your content, is someone burgling you?
No, it's the rain. Sorry.
That's rain, is it? Oh
yeah.
my goodness.
Yeah, it's really stormy up here today.
Yeah,
at the top of the village.
We had loads of it here as well. That's serious rain. That is.
Yeah, it's.
Why is it
loud.
us Brits talk about the weather?
Yeah, sorry. I was kind of hoping it would like hold off for just 15 minutes, but it's just gone. Screw you.
That is incredible. So
yeah.
It's totally thrown me now. Where were we? Oh, websites.
Sorry, we were talking about websites and content.
So I know I've got to have a website. I'm not very good at words. This is hypothetical because actually I've written a book all about creating content. So look at that. It looks cool in the banner and that, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it matches. Matchy.
And the yellow t-shirt, look.
Yeah.
So you will provide me with a website, but B, the content to go on it. So I'm getting the right SEO and then the right content for my social media. So basically I can carry on making widgets and you can look after my online presence.
Yeah. In a nutshell. Yeah.
So I knew that.
Yeah, it's good if somebody needs to, they're getting their business off the ground and they're so focused in building those partnerships, which are really important, and getting those first few clients through the door, and they don't have that web presence yet, then they can come to us and we'll build the website for them and we'll make it look all pretty, and we'll do the basic SEO stuff and all of that as well, and we can actually help you to create the content. So you just give us the pointers of the main things that you want to say, sort of tone of voice and stuff like that. So for us, our tone of voice is very, very casual. It's really sort of friendly, but a lot more people, for example, accountants, are probably going to be going more corporate. So you give us some pointers and then we can write it, and you can be pretty much as hands off as it can get while still being yours.
So I could turn around to you and go, oh, I need a website, do that, sort it. Or I could turn around and go, just manage me online, and you can do all of that as well.
Yeah, so we work on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn company pages. So long as you're kind of on those platforms, if you're going into TikTok and Twitter, we don't touch those with a barge pole, but I know a really good chap who I could definitely recommend to you. But yeah, no, we won't be doing that.
No, you've got to stick to your lane, haven't you? I see some of these social media people going, oh, we do this. How can you do any of it brilliantly?
Mm-hmm.
And this is why McDonald's just do burgers. I don't know if you've seen the movie The Founder. When Ray Kroc first found McDonald's, they did chicken wings and other stuff, hot dogs and things like that. And if you niche right down and know your path and do it really well, that's another subject, whether or not McDonald's burgers are very well, but hey, they've obviously got something right. But yeah, that's the thing, and it's a sensible person that says we don't touch something. Yeah, so we don't touch TikTok, we don't touch Twitter.
Yeah, we don't do that.
Elon Musk has just bought Twitter. And he's kicked everybody else. Have you got any views or thoughts on that?
Again, I don't really touch Twitter, not even personally. Sometimes if you're sort of trawling the web, like I sometimes do, you'll come across a nice bit of popcorn, which is a bit of drama. And sometimes I'll hop onto Twitter to have a bit of free entertainment, but that's about as far as it goes.
Yeah, that's interesting. So you must see an awful lot of websites. So give us some top tips of what a rubbish website looks like and what we need to do to make it look like a good website. What are your top tips that you tell people? Because you did a survey of my website, didn't you? Absolutely amazing. You spent hours on it, and it absolutely some great pointers. So thank you for that. I don't know if you still offer that as a service.
Yes, we do. Yeah. So we do still offer free advice to any small business who feels that they need it. So that could be in the form of, if you've built your website yourself, you're looking at your homepage and you're thinking, I really don't like this, but I don't know why, then do get in touch with me, because we can give you like a quick review and give you some pointers on what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong. And there's no obligation to use us for that. We'll actually give you tasks that you can go away and do, and you can do it yourself. You can give it to your best mate. You can give it to your next door neighbor, Dave, your brother, your sister, your aunt, your uncle. Really don't care. We just want to help. And that's kind of what we did for you, which is when we found out that your link was wrong. So that's going to be one of my top tips, is to check that your links work on your website.
That was my link. That was my link to LinkedIn, wasn't it?
It was, yeah, which made it even better. Yeah, it was your link to your LinkedIn page. So I think one of the top tips that I would give is homepages on a website are a bit like a blurb on a book. It's meant to give you a synopsis of the business. And if you haven't really managed to do that very well, in tech speak, it's called a user journey. So a user journey is the steps that you want your website visitor to go through. So you want them to land on your homepage, and then you want them to click through to like your services or your about us, and then you want them to, submit a contact form or whatever. That's called a user journey. So if your user journey is clear as mud, if your the sort of the messaging that you're trying to send across to on your homepage especially is clear as mud, you're going to lose people before they've even gone past the homepage. They're going to go to your homepage and go, well, I've got no idea what this person does, no idea how to contact them, I don't know what they're doing, I'm just going to leave and find somebody else. So you want to make sure that your homepage very clearly within the first sort of split second says what you do and who you do it for, because you want your website visitor to be able to ascertain that for themselves. Because once they land on your site, they're going to go, I am looking for a blah, and I am a blah. So in our example, we are, a website visitor would come to us and they would go, I am a carpenter and I am looking for help managing my website. And they'd come to our site and they'd see that straight away we work with small businesses to help them online, because we say that within the first few split seconds. If you're not saying I work with in the first few seconds, you're going to be losing people, because you need to hook them in, and once they're hooked, they'll stay and they'll explore further.
I'm trying to find my website.
From what I remember, I think you're okay.
Yeah, you can see that. And you one of the things that I took away from what you did was blogging. Actually, creating stuff on your website. Why is that important, Heather? So
if you just create a website, or you get your website done and you stick it up in the World Wide Web, and then you never touch it again. Search engines like Google have little bots that essentially do what's called crawling. So they go around the internet and they'll look at your website and they'll go through your content on your website and they'll go, oh, you write about this stuff, you know about these things, and you do these services, and it will remember it. And this is where SEO, search engine optimization, comes in. So it will remember certain keywords. And if you just create your website like just the once, then the little bot's going to go through your website when you first put it up, and it's going to go, oh, Ashley does LinkedIn and he works with these people and he does this stuff. And then it's going to go away and it won't come back, because it has no reason to, because nothing's changed, and it will know that nothing's changed. Whereas if you do a blog, and it doesn't have to be every week, we do a blog every week and we frequently regret that decision. Don't do it unless you've got the time to. We won't be doing it for much longer because it's too much. But if you do a blog on a regular basis, it gives the bot a reason to come back. And then that also gives you stuff that you can then share on further, on your social media pages, share it on your Facebook page, write a little blurb about it, try and, entice people in. Because if your ultimate goal is to get people on your website, you need stuff on there to get them on it. If you're not doing anything on it, why is anybody ever going to go?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. That does. Yeah, writing something every week is a bit of a challenge, but following your advice, I've added another thing. So I do a blog on a Saturday,
yes,
and then I share my newsletter on a Monday or a Tuesday. It's Tuesday today, so it'll be Tuesday because I forgot yesterday. So my website is getting 2 blogs a week. Is that overkill?
It's up to you, really. It's kind of what works for you. I would say that in order for it to work well, you should not be posting the same thing on every platform, because if you're posting exactly word for word on Facebook as you are on your blog, and you want people on your website, if they find you on Facebook, why would they ever go to your website? They can read it all on your Facebook page. So, if you can do two blogs a week, well, bloody good on you. Just make sure that you're keeping it varied across the platforms, because if you keep it all the same in a carbon copy, no one will ever look at more than one, because they have no reason to.
Basically, that's a great sense. So yeah, so what I do is I send out a newsletter every Monday, and I use that as my blog.
Excellent.
So yeah, that's interesting. But the other blog is a review of what I do every week on LinkedIn. So that helps people with ideas and what works, what doesn't. So I'm really transparent with my analytics, so people can actually see how things are doing, so they can compare themselves and what works, what doesn't, whether it's a photo post or a document post or something like that. So yeah, interesting stuff. What are the big no's for a website then, Heather?
Not having a cookie banner and not having an SSL certificate. An SSL certificate is the little padlock that you get in your browser's address bar next to like facebook.com or LinkedIn. It's the little padlock. And what that means is your connection to that site is secure. If you don't have an SSL on your website, if a user is using something like Google Chrome, and they go to your website, it's going to come up with a massive, like, full page, completely block the whole site pop-up, which says your connection to this site is not secure. Are you sure you want to continue? And that is going to scare a lot of people off. And you're going to lose, you're going to lose a lot of people. Not only that, but search engines like Google will penalize you on your SEO scores if you don't have that SSL certificate. So get an SSL certificate, and it doesn't have to cost you any money. You can get free ones with, I think they're a community interest company called Let's Encrypt. So it doesn't have to cost you money to get an SSL certificate. And it's such a basic tick in that little SEO box that it's really worth doing. The cookie banner is one that I will be talking about until the day I die, because nobody ever seems to listen about why it's important. Especially if you've got something like Google Analytics on your site and you're tracking what people are doing, you must ask their permission before you put these cookies on their computer. So a cookie is a little piece of code which basically goes onto the recipient's, the user's computer, and it tracks what they're doing. You can't just stick your code on someone else's stuff without asking for it first, and you must have a cookie banner. And there are so few websites that don't need them that the general rule of thumb is you're going to need one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Again, that doesn't have to cost any money.
No,
if you don't want it to.
And your Twixt or whatever it was you called it, and WordPress, they're going to have all of that built in, aren't they?
Yeah, so WordPress has cookies by default. And if you're on WordPress, then I would recommend a plugin called Compliance, which is spelt like complying with something, but with a Z on the end instead of NCE. So it's compliance with a Z. That's free. That will give you your policies, and that will give you a cookie banner. It's really easy to set up, doesn't cost you anything. If you're on Squix, Wix or Squarespace, then there is a tick box which is hidden away in the site settings and compliance areas, because Squarespace and Wix do use cookies by default as well. So it is worth checking that out. From recollection off the top of my head, Wix is a little more difficult to set up than Squarespace is for the cookie banner, but you should really have one.
Yeah, I know I've got one because you said I did, so that's all cool.
Yes.
But before we go, I've got one more question. But is there anything else you want to tell us that we should be doing with our websites, or things like that? A little bit of maintenance or something we should worry about?
I think the main thing I would just say is that a website these days is, and I'm not just saying this, right, because my company does them. I'm genuinely saying it's a bit of a must these days. You need an online presence to show that you do exist, you're trustworthy, you're putting yourself out there. It doesn't have to cost the earth. It doesn't have to cost you a lot of money. If you're on a really tight budget, it is possible to get a website for free. And it's just really important to make sure that you do have that online presence, because it is basically a version of an online business card these days, right? If you're trying to find a specialist, like a tradesperson or whatever, and they don't have a website, you're like, oh yeah, not sure I'm going to touch you with a barge pole. I'll find somebody else. So it's just really important to make sure that you're doing it, and it doesn't have to cost you hundreds or thousands of pounds. As I said, if you're really tight on a budget, you can get them for free to a few quid if you're prepared to work in yourself. That is.
Yeah, that's the thing. But the I guess the top advice is get somebody that knows what they're doing, and just pay them a little bit of money, and you can just you've ticked all the right boxes. It's going to do something for you. And do you get into SEO? Because that is another topic, isn't it?
Oh yeah, that's like its whole thing. So on the SEO thing, we are very open and say we know enough to get you started. We will tick the basic boxes. If you want to fully SEO the tits off your website, not us. But again, I have people I'd be more than happy to recommend, but we're not SEO specialists. We're not going to get you, flying up to the very top result on Google. And I would be doing the SEO service industry a disservice if I said that we did it, because we would not do it as well as somebody who lives and breathes it 24 hours a day.
And that's the beauty, isn't it? Because again, you're saying this is our lane.
Mm-hmm.
We know a little bit about that. We know a little bit about that, but this is what we really know. So that's absolutely superb. Heather, you've been absolutely fantastic today. I could talk to you all day asking you all kinds of web questions. One last question before I go to the final question is, why Socks Digital?
Why are we called Socks?
Yeah.
It's literally so we can make puns.
Okay.
I'm not joking. When we started the business, it kind of started not entirely by accident, but during lockdown, lots of people were approaching Graham, my other half and my business partner, for help online. And he ended up just having so many people that he ended up turning around to me and going, I need some help in managing this. I can't keep on top of it. And boom, we had a company, and we were like, well, this happened. And we started trying to come up with names for it. And we were doing really fancy things like playing around with ancient Greek. And we were like, nah, none of this really suits us. And I remember it really well. I was just doing the housework one day and I was trying to come up with names. And I was thinking of, really cliched sayings like, pigs might fly and let us knock your socks off. And I thought, knock your socks off. Socks, but we'll spell it wrong just to screw with people. No, that's not why we did it. But yeah, so it just came up with the name sort of Socks, and thought, actually, that's really you can play with it a lot, the number of sock related puns that you can do. And then you can have, this is a Socksy website, Socksy development service, let's knock your socks off. Love it. And it all came out of that. Yeah. So it's literally, our name is so that we can make really bad business related puns. So if anybody comes up with some new ones, please send them to me, because I'm always on the lookout for some really cheesy puns.
That's fantastic. I love the idea of the puns. Right, so we're just going to go to my guest next week is Rashmi. You can't see her full name because I've still got that banner going. She runs this an amazing charity. So I'm looking forward to having a chat with her next week. But finally, then, my last question to you was, what is your advice to your 16-year-old self, Heather?
Don't sweat it. It'll work out.
It will, especially those sweaty socks.
Out. Yeah, especially sweaty socks. Yeah, stinky sweaty socks.
Fantastic. You've been an amazing socksy person to talk to today. So thanks ever so much for your time. And thanks for choosing that amazing song that's still buzzing around in my head. And
You're welcome.
we will see you all next week. Thanks ever so much indeed. Cheerio now. Bye-bye.